We saw very interesting remarks by Mike Pizzullo this week, the head of Home Affairs, on China. You're a minister that deals with our region. There's been a lot of talk about China increasing its influence in our region. Is that something you've noticed?
Well, look, there's no doubt that, of course, as a growing power, China has influence in the region. What we always focus on is Australia's interests, and Australia's interests are for a peaceful and stable and prosperous Pacific, and we help facilitate that, obviously, with trade. We help with development assistance. We help it at the moment, of course, with helping with the health situation. But health and economic recovery is going to be key. So, yes, there are many other players in the region that are very important, including China. But, of course, Australia's interests are always about working with our Pacific family for a safe and peaceful and prosperous region.
On the issue of religion and politics, the Prime Minister's faith has received a bit of coverage recently after he gave a speech to religious leaders, Pentecostal leaders and so on. Stuart Robert, the Employment Minister, was also there. Yesterday on the program, on this program, he sought to explain to me the Pentecostal prayer of laying on of the hands. I've been subsequently criticised for degrading the religion and then also pandering to him, so I don't know where that sits, but I was actually just seeking a bit of an explanation as to what was on with that. What do you make of the fact that the PM's faith is back in the headlines and being discussed as it is? Is it appropriate for the PM in that situation?
Well, I think some of the criticisms that come at the PM for his faith are frankly not even just about the Prime Minister. I think they're about all people of faith. The Prime Minister's always been open about who he is and about his Christian faith. Now, it's a Christian faith that's shared by about half of the Australian population or so. And, I think that we do see from time to time from the left of politics and from some in the commentariat a real degrading of people of faith. And I think when they attack the Prime Minister for simply expressing his views, not seeking to impose them on anyone, I think people see through that, and I think it's not just an attack on the Prime Minister. I think it's an attack on many millions of Australians, be they of the Christian faith or indeed of many other faiths.
In relation to using the government jet to fly there for the conference, is that reasonable? Well,
the Prime Minister is asked to go and speak at many events, many of which are events hosted by people of faith, whether they're Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, other members of the Christian faith. And we as politicians go and get out amongst stakeholders. So if the suggestion from those criticising him is you can't go to Christian events, well, I think that would be a very discriminatory attitude. Prime Ministers, members of Parliament go in their official duties to many events that are hosted by churches and other religious groups. Stuart Robert,
yesterday, he's colourful, as you know. He actually reached across and put his arm on my shoulder a couple of times during the interview as part of that explanation on laying on of hands. And it was interesting, I got a fair bit of reaction to that, including from one of your fellow ministers who said, "I fear they've become emboldened to the point that I feel very uncomfortable. Leave it in the church," was the message.
Well, if Minister Robert is asked a question about these things, then he's entitled to give a response, which I assume he was giving. So I don't think that's a fair criticism.
Minister, appreciate your time. We'll see you next week. Thanks for that.